Hello, everybody. My name is Yogi, and I'm here for the day 10 of my 30-day video challenge that I'm doing in June 2018. Today, I want to talk about something that is quite difficult for me to talk about, and that is how I went from being socially shy to being less socially shy. And some ways I've used consciously and subconsciously and unconsciously to become more comfortable in this arena. As I mentioned, it is a touchy subject for me. I don't think I'm very comfortable around people yet. And I still think of being made fun of. What can I share about how to be more comfortable when I'm myself not very much so? But this 30-day challenge that I'm doing in June, this trial gives me a chance to speak about the vulnerable topics, even though it is uncomfortable. And for me, I have moved a little bit, at least, on the spectrum on social comfort. At the very least, I can consider these as notes to myself. If for not for anybody else, they will be helpful for me just to reflect on my past, my journey along this continuum of social comfort. First, I want to talk a little bit about my earlier situation in terms of social comfort. I was very shy in new situations, very introverted, and still am to a certain extent. I wanted to speak, but not sure what can I speak about. I remember being sad at times about it. Sad in a very personal, internal way, and not being able to share that either. My mind was not quiet, although I talked about quietness of mind, meditation, and peacefulness, but my mind was not quiet. As Stephen Hawkins said one time, quiet mind, quiet people have the loudest mind. Quiet people have the loudest mind. And I don't know about every quiet mind, every quiet person having the loudest mind, but I can totally relate to that. I was quiet, but a lot of thoughts were going on in my head. Now, in the rest of the video, I want to share some mindsets and a few tactics I've used to move along in the spectrum of social comfort. One mindset that helps in this arena in order to get over the shyness is the mindset that we are all in it together, or most of us are in it together. One thing that helped get over the shyness for me was just having a couple of good friends who would share their situations. And I realized from talking to people, from good friends and from others that got comfortable over time, that many people have social difficulties. The problem is not unique to me. I'm not in it alone. When I'm having difficulty talking to a person, there is a good chance they are having difficulty talking to me also. Knowing this helps to break the ice. My experience doing this has convinced me that a good fraction of people are happy to connect. The problem is the hiding the vulnerability that I'm uncomfortable and not letting it out. But once we realize we are all uncomfortable to a certain extent, it really helps to get started. The second mindset that helps to be more comfortable is this mindset of being interested in others and do active listening. Dale Carnegie one time said, to be interesting, be interested. People like getting listened to, and it is important to give them the gift of being listened to. Active listening is a powerful technique to get to know someone. I've realized if I listen to someone and I'm genuinely interested in their story, our conversation flows better. They also tend to become curious about me. It doesn't happen all the time, but often enough that this is a great way to break the ice. So, the recommendation would be to be interested in others and listen intently to other people's stories instead of just waiting for your turn to talk. And if one is particularly shy and has difficulty, social discomfort, that moment when you get a chance to speak is hard to come by, and it usually doesn't come by. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty, at least one dimension of it. It is nice to know some high level principles that I'm talking about, but when push comes to shove, what is the action we can take to be socially less discomfortable, more comfortable? It is useful to have a few ways to start the conversation, to break the ice. Like, how do you know the host if you're in a party? Or what brings you to San Francisco? Or are you from around here? If you are walking around in the city and visiting a museum or something. Or something like that. Usually getting started is the hardest part. At least for me it was. Once you get started, other principles like active listening, be interested in others, can be applied so much more easily. If you're not conversing, it is hard to listen, actively or passively. So if you find yourself in a situation where you are having hard time breaking the ice or hard time striking conversation, think of ways to break the ice. Look up online later, of course, or ask friends and others. Like in such situation, what can one ask? A very generic thing. It doesn't have to be specific to that situation. Research a little bit. Try different things. It helps to have a few things in your repertoire to get started on a conversation. The next principle I want to talk about is the idea of confidence. And this is a huge one. Having confidence and being confident in yourself helps to be socially comfortable. I'm usually low on confidence. It helps though to know what you're insecure about. What am I insecure about? That helps to dissect what's going on. For many of us, social confidence comes from approval of others. Approval of people is an important way or important part of any relationship or any friendship. Or rather, for me, it used to be a much bigger part than it is now. Not looking for approval though. Not looking for approval from people tends to work for the confidence building instead of building confidence by looking for more and more approval. It's counterintuitive, but it worked for me, and I think from some people I talk to, it tends to work for people also. How does that happen though? How do you go from seeking approval as an innate part of you to not seeking approval to that large an extent? One way that helped me was just repeating and asking the universe or whatever you believe in that you don't want desire for approval anymore. Just knowing yourself that you don't want that. That itself helps. And over time, it would help more and more. It could be an affirmation, it could be a prayer, visualization, or anything that you believe in. but really asking the universe for delivering yourself from the desire of seeking approval. And that is huge. It is not an arrogant, I'm not looking for approval and don't give a shit about you. And it doesn't close you in. It's not that kind of not looking for approval. You're just looking to connect with people, not looking for their approval. And there is a subtle difference between that, between those two things, and that difference makes all that difference makes all the difference. Even logically, it makes a lot of sense to me. If someone wants to make friends with you, for example, the you that showed a different side of yourself by not being genuinely you and trying to impress others, you will always be afraid of showing the real you, even if you were to become a friend. You cannot be real if the friendship started with a fake you. You can't be a real you in the friendship. So, not seeking approval of people and being yourself and genuinely trying to connect with people is a great start. Okay, now I would like to conclude, and that's all I have for today. In summary, to be more comfortable around people in social situation, it helps to, number one, realize many people have the fear and anxiety the way you do and I do, and realize that we are in it together. Number two, be interested in people. Be interested in their story. Be interested in listening to them, not just interested in telling your story or sharing your opinion. Number three, have a few ways to break the ice. Research about them, ask people how to break ice in different situations and what you're comfortable with. And number four is, and this is the difficult part, do some practices or do one practice if you can, if you connect with it, to help you get over the desire to impress others, to get approval from others. Then it will be easy to connect genuinely with people. The last is a very hard one, I must say. At least for me, it was. It's a long process, so don't give up. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and comment. And that's all I have today. I look forward to seeing you later. Thank you.